Good evening. This is a story of high-stakes diplomacy unfolding against the relentless backdrop of war. Just weeks after U.S. and Israeli forces launched a major military campaign against Iranian targets, the Trump administration has put forward what officials describe as a structured 15-point proposal aimed at ending the fighting. At the same time, fresh attacks are reminding everyone that the path to any agreement remains treacherous and uncertain. Let's step back for a moment. The current round of hostilities erupted in late February when coordinated strikes hit Iranian nuclear facilities, military sites, and leadership targets. What began as an effort to neutralize what Washington and Jerusalem viewed as an imminent nuclear threat quickly escalated into open conflict. Iran responded with waves of ballistic missiles and drones aimed at Israel, U.S. interests, and several Gulf states. The Strait of Hormuz, through which a significant portion of the world's oil passes, became a flashpoint, with disruptions threatening energy prices and global supply chains. Now, amid this violence, President Trump is signaling a shift toward de-escalation. In recent days, he has publicly spoken of very good and productive conversations with Iranian representatives. He announced the postponement of threatened strikes on Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for at least 5 days to give diplomacy breathing room. Administration officials, including envoys Steve Witkoff and reportedly Jared Kushner, have been involved in behind-the-scenes efforts, with messages reportedly passed through intermediaries such as Pakistan and Oman. The centerpiece of this push is the so-called 15-point framework. While full details have not been made public, reports indicate it covers several core demands: a permanent end to Iran's nuclear weapons ambitions, including zero uranium enrichment for military purposes, limits on its ballistic missile program, a reduction or cessation of support for regional proxy groups, and the full reopening and secure operation of the Strait of Hormuz. In return, the proposal is said to outline potential sanctions relief and pathways for normalized maritime and economic activity, all within a possible temporary ceasefire window that could last up to a month to allow further talks. Trump has expressed optimism, stating that Iran appears eager for a deal and that major points of agreement are already emerging. He has emphasized that the United States prefers peace, but remains fully prepared to use overwhelming force if negotiations fail. Additional U.S. troops, including elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, are being positioned in the region, underscoring that this diplomatic track is backed by continued military pressure. Yet the Iranian side tells a very different story. Tehran has repeatedly denied that direct negotiations are taking place, with officials mocking the idea that the U.S. is somehow negotiating with itself. Iranian state media has described the American proposal as unrealistic and maximalist, disconnected from the realities on the ground. In response, Iran has outlined its own conditions, including guarantees against future attacks, respect for its sovereignty, and compensation for damages suffered during the conflict. Meanwhile, Iranian missiles and drones have continued to target Israeli cities and other locations, causing injuries and damage even as the proposal circulates. This disconnect raises serious questions. Can a framework built on such divergent narratives actually produce a lasting agreement? Analysts point out that trust between the two sides is virtually non-existent after years of broken deals, assassinations, and now direct warfare. Israel has expressed concern that any premature ceasefire could allow Iran to regroup and reconstitute its capabilities. Gulf states are watching nervously, worried about both Iranian retaliation and disruptions to oil flows. Economically, the signals from Washington have already had an effect. Following Trump's announcement of postponed strikes and ongoing talks, global oil prices eased noticeably as traders bet on a possible reopening of critical shipping lanes. But sustained volatility remains likely until concrete progress emerges. As this story develops, several realities stand out. First, the Trump administration is attempting something ambitious, using military leverage to force a broader strategic reset with Iran, one that goes beyond the nuclear issue to address ballistic missiles and regional behavior. Second, the continued attacks demonstrate that Iran still possesses the will and some capacity to hit back, complicating any quick resolution. And third, the involvement of multiple intermediaries highlights how fragmented and indirect these early contacts truly are. The coming days will be critical. Will the 5-day pause on energy strikes hold and expand into a broader ceasefire? Can the 15-point framework serve as a genuine basis for talks, or will it collapse under the weight of irreconcilable demands? And what role will Israel and other regional players ultimately play in any final arrangement? One thing is clear, in this volatile environment, every statement, every strike, and every diplomatic signal carries enormous consequences, not just for the Middle East, but for energy security and stability worldwide. The Trump administration is betting that pressure combined with an off-ramp can produce results where previous approaches have failed. Whether Iran sees the same path forward remains very much in doubt. We will continue to monitor every development closely. Stay informed, and thank you for watching.